Alright guys, today we're going to learn how to bench a field. We're going to create our survey design. I'm just going to name it random names, bench, field, example, BF, BF, example. We're going to start off by importing our survey, bench, survey. Okay, we're going to import data. I'm going to go through this part pretty quick because we already have a training video on how to do this. All the survey points are in that file. I'm going to go to next, PNEZD, finish. I found some stuff that was duplicative, so click OK. Click zoom full extents. All our points are really zoomed in, so we're going to find them. There they are. There's some points I don't want in there, so if you go, I don't want the base tinable more visible. I don't want the TPM visible or tinable, and then I think there's some stuff down here. So whatever points you don't want tinable, i.e. made as a surface, get rid of them. I didn't do this survey, but so I'm assuming some things. But the ones that look weird, I'm gonna get rid of. Actually, I got rid of these ones, and they should be there. Okay, and then once again from the training video that Samantha did, we got to rotate our field. Right now, the field is at about a 30-degree cant to the from the 90. So we got to make it so that it's rotated in such a way where it's vertical 90 degrees. Basically 90 degrees with the y axis. So we're going to go and edit. We're going to go and translate using a coordinate. And the point we're going to use is 1685. Find it. I already know the angle is going to be 30. We're going to apply OK, accept edit, and there is our survey relative to everything rotated, so it's 90. So now on this one, there's a lot going on, so we're going to turn off the triangles, and we're going to turn off the I'm going to turn off the points, and there we have a clear image of the field. So we want to bench this field. The field currently irrigates from west to east, and so I tried to bench it in 4 fields, and then I said, well, let's just do in 2 fields. So for this training purpose, I'm going to do it 2 fields just to show you how to do it. One thing you will notice in this little section here is I don't want this surface part of my surface. I need to create a border there, and I'm going to do that by using a border point. I'm going to add a border point, and you'll see what happens when I do that. So I'm going to click this, and I'm going to go from here. That's a border point, that's a border point, that's a border point. Every point I click is going to be a border point. And then I'm going to click enter, or double click, I guess. And I should have redid it. I'm not too sure why I didn't do that, but Okay. Okay, sorry about that. So to add a border to this edge here, because this section right here, I don't want the contours to draw to. You're gonna click, hover over there, add border point. Click each point that you want to be a border, and then carry it out to the ends. And you can see how it got rid of this section, because I don't want, that's not part of my survey. So we're done on that. So now I'm just going to create two fields. I'm going to have a field 1 and field 2. So what we're going to go to new, land leveling. I'm going to name it F1. I'm going to click OK. I'm going to pick the border. I don't want, if I click whole field, the whole field will be used or land leveled. But I want to pick which section of this field I want bordered. And then you're going to click snap to point, and then real quickly I'm going to snap all the points that I want to be within my first field. And once again, I'm just doing this right in half, so you just click every point, and then when you get to the last point, you're going to double click it. So there's the first border. Now we want to find the centroid of that field, so it found it, and the best fit with a 1.25 cut fill ratio is saying that it wants to go, if you look at the resultant slope, it wants to slope this way. We don't want that. We want it to slope this way from west to east. We don't want anything in the Y, so we're going to change the Y to 0, so no cross slope. And then I'm going to guess, I don't have the soils on this, but I'm going to guess it's a 0.3 per 100, and we're going to design it. And so no cross slope, so Y0. I'm going from west to east, 0.3 per 100, 0.3%. And it's telling me that I have a cut rate of 1,800 cut cubic yards per acre. The total field area is 4.9 acres. There's my cut, my fill volume. I'm going to accept the edit. And now I'm going to create the second field. So new F2 land leveling, okay. Once again, I want to pick the field boundary. I'm going to snap to point, and I'm going to click all the points that make up field 2. And if you look at the contours on my field, you may want to do it differently than I did, but like I said, I try to do it in 4 benches, and just for the simplicity, I'm doing it in 2 in this iteration. Double click on the last point. There is my second field. I want to find the centroid of that field. Click centroid, and there it is. And then cut fill of 1.25, and the best fit shows it as being, once again, it wants to, the contour, you can see that the land is already canted this way, and so that's why the best fit wants the result, shows the resultant is going this way. So we don't want any cross slope. We're going to irrigate from west to east, so we want that to be 0, and I'm just choosing 0.3 as an arbitrary slope, but you will use your recommended slopes from the irrigation guide for your, based off your soil. So negative 0.3% design. Now I have my fill irrigating from west to east. Cut rate of 1834.4, 5.8 acres, and we're done. So click accept edit, and then we're ready to run our reports. So before I do that, I'll put I'll just go through the motions here. Who it was designed by, who was drawn by. The practice is land leveling. And the location is someplace. I didn't do the survey, so I don't know the description of the marker. If you want to set the benchmark elevation 100, usually that's what we do, is set it to 100. And finally, we're going to go to File, Print Reports. It asks you to save edits. You're going to say yes. Click OK. It'll generate the reports. And we want that report. We want the project's points report. We want the survey data report. And we want the land leveling report. When you click land leveling report, you can run the report to show both field 1 and field 2, or I can just get field 1 design data. In this case, I'm going to do field 1 and field 2. We're going to go to next. In this case, the field was so small that we did a person surveyed it every 50 feet. So I want the stakeout report to show the stakeout points at 50-foot intervals. I want the survey points report and ISOPAC report. All this is default. Finish. Okay, it'll take a little while to generate. And while we're waiting, like I said, if you look at the contours, and we'll turn some things off. Let's go ahead and turn off the minor contour. Alright, let's just wait for the report. But if you just look at the blue lines on the field, you can kind of see where you would want to split the field. If you can follow one of those contours, one of those major contours, that's probably going to be where you want to put your bench. So here's the survey, or sorry, the final design. There's a benchmark report, project points report, and then we'll go down to where it shows you the actual design. So it shows for field 1, shows you the best fit results. We don't like those. We changed our slope to be 0.3%, and we had a cut fill of 1.25, and the cut per acre was 1800.8. Shows you have a max cut of 4.68 and a max fill of 0.68. Now let's go to field 2. Same thing, 0.3%. And we have a cut of 1834.4. So it's about even. 1800.8 cubic yards per acre and 1834.4 cubic yards per acre. So you can keep on playing with these. You can bench this 4 ways and see if you have not as much cuts. Those are pretty big cuts, so you may want to bench it into 4 benches. And now that you have this video, you can play around with that. Let me just go back here, and as far as gauging, let's see what happens. Where's my map? Oh, not responding. Okay, I'm not too sure what happened, but what I wanted to point out was, so as you can see here, you got all your major contours. I turned off my minor because there was too much going on. I bisected this 7138 because you can kind of use that line contour is almost going parallel already, so it's a good place to put a bench because you're bisecting the contour. The elevation difference between here and here is 8 feet, and the elevation difference between 7138 and 7130 is 8 feet, so it's about split in the middle. Let's say we wanted to bisect it again right here and make 4 surveys, or we wanted to make one here, we could do that. We'll just create a new, and we'll say field 3. We want to do a land leveling and click OK. Once again, we want to pick our border, so I'm going to pick it so that it's pretty much right in the middle of this one. So there's a third field. Find the centroid, 1.25. The best fit shows it as, once again, going the slope of the land. We don't want it to go anywhere in the 0. And as is, in the x direction, it's a 0.48. We're going to get it to a negative 0.3. Design it. And you have a cut of 798.4 versus doing this whole field, this whole half section of 1800 cubic yards per acre at 798.4. So let's accept that edit, and let's run a report and see how big of cuts we got for if we were to bisect that top part. On that top part we had some 4-foot cuts. Now let's see what we get. Well, I just want to do field 3, so we'll go to next, 50-foot intervals, finish, OK. And while we're lollygagging, like I said, the best way to figure out where you want your benches are to just try to square off your fields along the contours if you can. And you can turn over here so that the surface is not so much going on. So it's almost done. And there you go. We'll scroll down to the meats and potato, field 3. We have a max cut of 2.35 and 3.71, 798.4 cubic yards per acre versus 1800 cubic yards per acre. The main thing we're trying to do is get rid of those cuts, so we almost cut them in half. So that's a good thing. So it might be a better idea to make this field into 4 fields instead of 2. So you can keep on playing with it until you come up with a comfortable survey with minimal cuts. And we want to minimize the cuts in some places because you don't want to make the producer's field not as productive by cutting too much. Therefore, that's why it's important to, if you have such big cuts and you're going to have to do it, you go out there and bore some holes and see what kind of material you're going to hit, and if need be, save the top 1 foot, place it somewhere else, place it on the field adjacent to it, level it, and then bring back that field and put it back on the field so that they have good topsoil. If you have any questions, feel free to call me.